Welcome aboard the Tech Genius XY Express. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for your passport to programming in English and Hausa. Thank you for joining us in this presentation. Okay, so we are in new topic, and in our previous session we talk about data structure, and we talk about the future implementation of advanced data structure such as heap, linked list, tree, and other type of data structure, and our customized data structure as well. Okay, so before we do that, we are going to learn new topic, which is functions in Python. So we are going to introduce our learning objectives here before we dive into our presentation. So what we want you to take away at the end of this lesson, you should have a comprehensive understanding of what function is, how to work with concept of functions, and parameters and arguments, understand how to obtain results from function using the return statement. Okay, so without much to say, let's talk about function. What is function? Well, in Python, functions, or in general programming language, are block of code that can be reused to perform specific tasks. They help in organizing code and making it more readable. So we are going to see what we just explained in interactive in our console. So while Python comes with built-in functions such as learn function, which we have learned the method how to use some method which you call functions, because they are actually functions defined in another class. So that's why we call them method. Okay. So the basics of function, what make up functions. So in our code example, which is going to be in the interactive window, so the word def is used to define function. Then after the word, your function name, then parentheses. The parentheses, it could be your function is accepting parameters, or is not accepting parameters. So we are going to see that as well. Okay. So what are functions parameters? Functions parameters allow us to pass values to a function. So while you are building your function and your function is accepting some inputs, so you have to define parameters for that function. Okay, and the return value at the end of your operation, the behavior of your computation must always it could be you are returning the sum or you are returning the output. So it depends on what your behavior is doing for that function. Okay. So function scope, we are going to also talk about global scope and local scope. So while they are very necessary in function scope, so function scope refer to the visibility of variable within a function. So variable defined inside a function are local to that function and cannot be accessed outside. So we are going to see that as well. While on the other hand, global variable can be accessed from anywhere in the code. So that is easy to talk about. Okay, so let's dive to our interactive window where we are going to start running our code. Okay, so just like we explained what the function is, defining function, we use the word def here, def, then our function name, then the parameter that we are accepting. If our function is taking our values, so we define the parameters here. Then this colon. After the colon, you pass your function body, that is whatever initial variable that you want to declare here, your local variables most of the time, and the logic. Then your operation, whatever your function is going to be doing, whether summing or multiplying or accepting or storing variable, anything that you want to build. So maybe let's say your algorithm, yes. So inside the function body, you pass your algorithm, what you want to do, then you return whatever you want to return here. based on your output. Okay. So for this case, I declare a global variable here that is outside the function here, from outside this function name. So I declare this result, which is a variable, string variable. I declare it as global variable. So that means I can use it in this function as well as in all the remaining functions. Okay, so that is basically the general syntax for function. So how do we call function? We have seen how to declare function. Then calling a function. Use the function name with parentheses to call it. Pass argument to the function if it's accepting argument. That means if your inbuilt function has parameters. Okay, so now this is keyword for defining function def, then your function name, which is greet. Then we are accepting parameter. Yes, that means if we call this function, we are going to pass argument. Parameter is a name that you give to the function for accepting value, while the value that you are passing to the function is the argument. So that is basically easy to understand. Okay, then what our function is doing is nothing, it's just returning hello, then concatenating with the name. So, and this name is not a global variable because we define it inside the function here. So that means it's a local variable. Okay, then we are calling this function. This is the function name, then parenthesis, that is our round brackets. Then we are passing the name that we want. We pass this name, this string. Okay, then it's going to say hello, then it's going to print this string here. We are printing it here. So function without parameter, this parenthesis is empty, is taking nothing. We are passing, is not like the one that we pass name here. So this one takes nothing. That means it is not accepting arguments. Okay. Then we are returning a string, hello world. We can return multiplication, whatever we want, depending on the logic. Okay. So we are just returning a string here. Then we call the function. This is how you call your function. The function name, then parentheses. Then you remember if your function is accepting values, you pass the values. If it's not accepting value, then you just put round bracket. Okay. We are printing it here as well. So once we call our function and print we store the function inside a variable and we are printing it, it's going to print the return value of that function. So that is it. Um, then our next function with multiple parameters known at compile time or at running time, since this is should be a running time. At runtime, yes, we are dealing with Python, not C programming or C++. So Python is not using compile time. Okay, so now at this is the word for def, and we are summing, that is adding. We put our function name add. Okay, then we are accepting two values, two parameters. I mean, so these are our parameters, name of the values we are accepting. Okay, then we return the logic. This is the logic a plus b. When you call your function, this is the name of the function with your parentheses, then you are passing argument in this case. So this is the parameter, while these are arguments. So in our next session, in our next upcoming class, we are going to see how you can make strict condition in accepting these values. If someone can pass strings, so instead of it to be having multiple type of error, so we are going to add some escape characters that is going to make it uh, uh, staying in for this range of what you positional arguments. Yes, so we are going to see that in our next upcoming video. Okay, so but for now, let's just take it the way it is here. This is 3, this is 5. The argument is going to the interpreter is going to call this function, then it's going to pass these two values 3 and 5, then they will get computed inside the return. Okay, and we are printing it here. Simple. So with default parameter, we are using the default parameter in the next definition of function, then the return statement exits function and send back a result. Okay, just we explain that. So this is our function keyword. This is our function name. This is our parameter. While this parameter we are assigning a string or whatever value we want to give. We are giving a value to this parameter. So for that reason, we can as well override this parameter if we want. That means your function is taking two parameters, but you have declared one parameter as default. So this is how to do it. This one is a default parameter. That means whether it's given or not, you have you have already stored an inbuilt value for that. So you have to remember that. Okay. So and you are returning the greeting hello, then the concatenation of that name. Okay. We are concatenating the string. So that means we call the function name. We are passing, instead of to pass two value, we passed one. We can as well pass another value, so it's going to get override here. We will override that. Okay, so that is how to define your default. Then we are printing the function return value, which is here. So we are going to see lambda function. Lambda function are anonymous function, are concise and used for simple operation. Okay, so that is all about lambda. You can call keyword lambda, then you pass this any type of operation you want, but in this case we are saying our value x should be x squared. So whatever the whenever the function is called, that is anonymous, it could be your function could be doing so much that you don't know the what the function name is. So that is simply what the anonymous function is doing. Okay, so this x where is accepting only one value, that is x. So as a parameter here, then this x square, this uh, double asterisk means power. So 5 square, 5 to the power of 2, that will give you 25. We are printing the result as well here to see our output. Recursive function. Okay, this type of function can call themselves. This is known as a recursion. So we are going to cover another video on a recursion, but for now we should just know a function that is calling itself is recursive function. Okay, so we are defining our function name keyword here, then the function name, then we are accepting one parameter here. We stated this condition: if the parameter is equals to 0, then we are returning 1. If the parameter is not 0, then we are doing factorial. That is n times the factorial. We are calling the function again minus 1 with decrement of 1. Each time you call the function is going to decrease by 1 the argument. Okay, so in this case we are calling the factorial with 5. That means it's going to start with 5 times 4, then it's going back again to call the function again, uh 4 times 4 times 3, just like that. It's going to keep repeating itself until it reach uh 0. Then it's going to return 1, then it's going to start summing up. Okay, so now let's test run our program and see. So this is the output, hello world, which we started with the here. Say hello world. In this one we are not calling the function greeting. We didn't call this function, so that's why it's not okay. Where is it? This result. Okay, we are not printing anything here, so we did not declare this result, so that's the reason. And in this case we declare this variable, and we are printing the message greet hello plus the name. Okay, so basically that is easy to understand. Let's pass value here and have it clear. So we passed value. Oh, this should not be in scope with the indentation. Okay, let's pass a string value of 2. All right. So yeah, it's printed here. So hello, two. You have to take care of your indentation as well. So we are printing this, and we are printing this hello world. We printed the addition of this 3 plus 5, 8. We printed this Sam, hello Sam, and the lambda we printed it 25, 5 square, and the last one factorial, which is 120. Okay, this is the end of our lesson for this session. Thank you for your time. Okay, I remember, guys, before we go to conclusion, I have an assignment for you here. Yes, so please take your time and go through the assignment. Thank you for your time. Okay.